Anti-Afro Svengalis. Oh, people, this is dreadful. This was inevitable, but the time has arrived. Umar Johnson procrastinated. He put this off. He knew this day was coming. We knew it was coming. Umar Johnson tried to avoid having to face the situation. He can no longer avoid it. It's here. It happened. It occurred. His so-called special education status is bunco. In theory, it's been bunco for quite a long time. And many of us question if it ever was legit to begin with. What in the heck am I talking about? Let me tell you. Let's go back to 2015. Umar Johnson was supposed to be getting continuing education training in order to keep himself updated with the issues that impact the field he claims to be an expert in, which is special education. Hello, every person who waves a banner of a professional field is required to continue to get their knowledge base re-greased, retooled. And why is that? Because you are serving the public. The public has a right to have access to people who know what the hell they are doing. Information changes, regulations change, service interventions change. That's how we are able to serve people best. We don't stay stuck in a time warp. And you can tell by the way Umar Johnson talks. He's back in the freaking 70s and 80s. And in one sense, he likes to be there because he likes to keep our people triggered. Nice and triggered, so they'll stick their hands into their pockets, dig out their money and give it to Umar. Or they will hand over their bank routing numbers. Again, you're asking, what are you talking about? Umar Johnson's special education status as it applies to being a school psychologist is inactive when it comes to the special education service provision. So he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about when it comes to being a school psychologist because he didn't complete the continuing education requirements. Going back to 2015, he had 5 years to complete 180 hours over a 5-year period that comes out to 36 hours a year, at least, if you average it out. They really don't care whether or not you do all 180 hours in 1 year, although it's not ideal. They just want it done over the 5-year period. And Umar Johnson didn't do it. Umar Johnson took it to the hilt. He decided he was going to appeal the decision because he didn't do the work. What was Umar Johnson doing? Hyena yelping across the world. It wasn't a priority. Why wasn't it a priority? Because Umar Johnson doesn't give a damn about the people he claims he cares about. Umar Johnson only gets up and spews garbage because he's looking to hijack money from our community. If he cared about the information he was dispensing, he would want to get the updated and accurate information. And this is how it works. When you participate in these trainings, it isn't just about you sitting there and listening to someone tell you information or bringing you information or research. It's about engaging other people because you learn from others as well. And Umar says he's the most requested scholar and he has all this information. Wouldn't this be a great opportunity for Umar Johnson to dispense information to others so they can learn from him? Absolutely. But no, Umar Johnson doesn't even do that. So we have 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Umar Johnson did not get any training. He was hyena yelping around the world, getting all this money, and what does he have to show for it? An abandoned bomb shelter that is in ruins. It's always been in ruins. It always will be in ruins. Umar Johnson has taken no steps to improve the condition of the abandoned bomb shelter. He hasn't. That is the bottom line, people. So what did Umar Johnson do? Umar Johnson, when he was first given word, this is back in late 2019, because we've been following this situation. Actually, let me correct myself. In 2020, he received word that he did not send in his continuing education units to be verified. Umar Johnson admitted he didn't complete the hours, and he requested an exemption to basically state he did not have to complete the hours. An exemption is given under extenuating circumstances. Like, for example, say that you completed 100, I'm just exaggerating, 177 hours, and you were sick and you had surgery. Can you see an exemption being given then? And the total is 180 hours? That would be a reasonable exemption. Say you completed 165 units and you had to go take care of your elderly parent out of state. That's possibly reasonable. But when you've been hyena yelping around the world and you've completed no continuing education units, you're not going to get an exemption for that. And let me tell you what happened. We located the division in the Pennsylvania Department of Ed that handles the continuing education units, and we sent them evidence of what Umar Johnson has been doing. Basically, itinerary through these years, not every single spot, but several stops through each of these years, which made very clear, if you want to look at where Umar Johnson has been in complete, like totality, as far as Umar Johnson has been, you can do that research. But we're just giving you several places he has been throughout this entire time that he was supposed to be completing his continuing education units. He doesn't deserve an exemption. He gets an exemption for ripping the community off? Who gets an exemption from ripping the community off when you had every opportunity to complete these units? And you can do these courses on computer. You don't have to sit in a classroom or a workshop and do these units. They can be interactive. They can be with or without other people. They can be interactive online. They can be solo online. There are a variety of different ways that you can complete these units. But simply blowing them off because you are so into yourself and you want to use people's money to continue traveling around the world to finance your lifestyle that you in a million years would have never otherwise accessed, but for not lying to the community, and he wants an exemption? So when he submitted the appeal, it went into pending inactivation status until recently the decision was made, or actually COVID upheld a lot of that. They were letting a lot of things go because of COVID. Now that most states are out of the danger zone with COVID, they went back and reviewed all the documents with everyone, and the exemptions that were given blankets have now been removed. He was already in process of being deactivated, but they moved forward, they completed the review, and they decided Umar did not warrant an exemption, and that is the proper decision. If you are committed to the field that you're working in, you need to take the steps to learn all you can about the field that you're in, because he is not top dog. He's not an administrator. He's not a policy decision maker or anything like that. If he thinks he has so much to offer, why hasn't he pursued these avenues? Because he wants to stay in the Black community, siphoning money from our people based on scare tactics. Umar Johnson has no credibility to stand up and speak on behalf of school psychologists when he is not even current on what school psychologists do. He doesn't have current training. You want a doctor attending to your child when he or she hasn't even completed his or her continuing ed units to keep up on what the heck is happening in the field of pediatrics. You're comfortable with that? You're going to trust Umar Johnson's advice on what to do or not when it comes to your child's education when he doesn't even have updated information, people? Okay, it says here something about this principal certificate. Whoop-de-doo. Is Umar Johnson flying around the country bragging about being a principal, or is he flying around the country bragging about his knowledge of special education and what you should and shouldn't do? He's bragging about his so-called credentials in special education, which are on ice. They're on ice. You see the description right here. It's clearly stating this is not a disciplinary action, but if you go out there and you are positioning yourself to be in possession of knowledge that you don't have, it exacerbates a situation, and it absolutely could elevate to disciplinary intervention from the regulating board, because now you are giving information to people that is very clearly not based on any current knowledge. There's another liability there. And is Umar Johnson going to admit to people that his status is not in good standing? It does not tell parents that he is updated when it comes to the knowledge about the profession that he claims to know so much about, that he spends time trashing as well. And what is he going to do about these 180 hours? He's going to let it just sit there. And you had better believe this is going to be added when we make it known that Umar Johnson thinks he's going to breeze into town and do these presentations on special ed. You got no credibility in pumping and pimping that Kinko's print job behind the fact that he doesn't have current credentials. This is embarrassing, people. And he expects our community to accept this and pay for it. You don't even know what else this dude has been up to. He has got some nerve. Oh my goodness gracious. He really thinks people are not listening and watching what he's doing. But people are. People in Wilmington are fed up with this dude and don't think they are not doing something about it. Just because they're not on YouTube doesn't mean they're not taking action. He's fooling himself if he thinks he's going to get away with what he's trying to do. And the fact that these so-called faking ass credentials to begin with are inactivated puts us in a different position. Like I stated, a lot of things were on hold with COVID. No more. We are advancing forward, and you are going to see the difference. Oh, people, you had better believe there's more to come. Including Umar Johnson did submit a permit for this, whatever he's saying, Flounders Day it's Flounders Day, all right. Look up the word Flounders Day. It's not Founders. It should be Flounders Day. And I'm going to get a copy of that permit, and I'm going to present it to you. And they say that he needs to fulfill the qualifications, and I'm going to get you the details. I'm actually going to get the actual permit itself. Hold on. I have a couple of people looking into that. And we're going to see exactly what Umar Johnson, what lies he put on that permit. Like you're going to do an event at a location, at an abandoned building that's on the vacant list that he has never, ever paid any fees. On the vacant property list. Like I say, do not touch that dial, but do heed the warning. Buyer beware.